Steve and Laugh. Thanks for coming in today to talk about anger. Steve, if you could put a number to it, how often during each day do you get angry?
How many times a day do I get angry?
Mm-hmm.
2.
Two. If you could put a gender to it, what gender would it be?
Male. Yeah.
Male. Twice a day, a male anger comes out.
Yes.
If you could put a name to it, what would you name your anger?
Phil. What's my dad's
Phil.
name?
Phil.
Yeah.
Phil. So Phil comes twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
Does he ever come more than twice a day?
Yeah, sometimes, for sure, yeah.
If you could characterize Phil, what would he be like?
Phil is 100 miles an hour moving forward. He is agitated, just in the red, eyes bulging out, just fists clenched, those things.
Mm-hmm.
Just angry and shaking mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about all that, Laugh? When you hear him describe Phil, what do you think about that?
It's accurate. That's definitely what Phil does and how it looks, but it's definitely more than 2 times. I mean, it's at least, I feel like I get berated at least like 8 times a day.
8 times.
8 times.
8 times. You say Phil comes to visit 8 times a day.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Steve?
I don't agree with that at all. I think that's complete bullshit. Okay, maybe sometimes I'll yell 3 times a day, maybe 4, but no more than that. I'm working all day. I come home, have a couple of beers, try to relax. I'm just not even with her that much. How could I yell at her 8 times a day?
Sounds like the anger is a problem quite often. When is the anger less of a problem or not a problem?
When I'm sleeping.
Would you agree with that?
Sleeping, okay, that's like what, you only get like maybe 6-7 hours of rest.
Mm-hmm.
Then the rest of the day you have to yell at me.
I don't think she's being accurate. It's not like every time we speak I'm yelling.
Whenever he comes home from work, it's like he has to find something wrong. I'm not doing something right. There's always something to pinpoint. I mean, I get yelled at from him more than I probably got yelled at from my parents growing up.
Phil comes to visit pretty often.
Yeah.
Well, maybe your parents should have yelled at you more.
Now you talking about my mom and my dad.
Oh,
We're not going to talk about them right now.
okay.
How has the problem affected you physically or emotionally?
It's exhausting. I know I get amped up sometimes, and when it passes, I'm exhausted. It takes all my energy, so it's really tiring, and I don't want to deal with it. It sucks.
Yeah. Doesn't feel very good, does it?
It feels terrible. I don't want to have to yell, but clean the house, have dinner waiting for me, get a job, do something, anything.
What do you tell yourself about your worth and who you are regarding the problem?
What do I tell myself about my worth?
Mm-hmm. And who you are regarding the problem? Do you see the problem as part of yourself?
Not really. I mean, I think I get triggered by things. If those things wouldn't happen, I wouldn't get upset. I get pretty pissed that I work hard and come home. Then, sometimes I gotta make my own dinner. That's annoying. Or, she has dinner, an hour later ready. It just, shit like that drives me crazy.
Well, let's talk about your closest friends. Who are your closest friends?
Mark and Frank, my old high school buddies, still close.
How does anger affect those relationships?
It doesn't really. I mean, a couple times, we've had some fights, never physical, but we've had arguments. But it's very rare. It's very rare.
Has the anger problem kept you from allowing yourself to enjoy special or casual relationships? Or any relationships?
Okay. we have one child together, and I feel like I'm probably not as close with my son as I could be, because you know, when I kind of get like this, I don't want him to see that. I don't want him to see me yelling, even though I feel like it's justified. But you know, I'd rather him not see that stuff. So I think I don't interact with him as much as I'd like to.
What do you think about that, Lev? How does he interact with his son?
I mean, he just said it. He doesn't interact with him. As mentioned earlier, he said, I don't have a job, but clearly I do have a job. I'm at home taking care of a child. So the child is, of course, closest to me, and I didn't even realize that he maybe wanted to be in the child's life more often because he doesn't really express that.
The child is closest to you. Yeah. How has the problem interrupted your work life?
Yeah, I snap at people at work. It's I gotta be careful. Excuse me. Yeah, I snap at some of my coworkers, and sometimes there's tension. For the most part, it's good, but yeah, I need to shut up.
You snap at people.
I do. Yeah, I get frustrated with lazy people, and I got this obnoxious manager who tells me everyone's doing the best they can, and I just want to smack him. Super annoying whenever he says that.
It's annoying and it's very frustrating.
Yes.
Have you ever been able to keep the problem from taking over when it was starting?
No. I know I can get pretty angry, and it feels like I can't control it. It's like the Hulk, right? Like, you know, he gets into those rages and he like can't control the transformation. It's kind of what it's like. It's a little weird, but
So you're like the Hulk. When Phil
Phil
comes
the
to-
Hulk, yeah.
Phil the Hulk. When
Yeah.
Phil comes to visit, you're like the Hulk, and you cannot control the transformation that happens.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Is there anything that you can do or that you have done in the past to make the anger less of a problem?
I don't know what I can do. I don't know. Things I have done, not really. I like to have a couple of beers. It helps take the edge off and helps me unwind. But you know, I mean, I've never hit Lavender. I'm gonna be very clear about that. But like sometimes I want to like punch a wall or punch a pillow, and I do. I'll, like punch the furniture or whatever.
Is that true, Lav?
It's true. He hasn't been physically abusive to me, just verbally.
Just verbally. About 8 times a day.
Yeah,
Like 2 or 3 times a day,
about 8 times a day.
maybe 4.
What made you vulnerable to the anger so that it was able to dominate your life like this?
My dad. Growing up with a dad who had real anger issues, not what I have. You know, that was a guy who would take his belt off and hit me. You know, for spilling paint in the garage.
So your dad made you, how you grew up made you vulnerable to the anger.
It's what I experienced, yeah, so I think so.
And you talking about my parents. They should have yelled at me more.
In what context is the anger most likely to take over?
You know, like just the after work routine. You know, I get home 6:30, 7 o'clock, and just like those last 2-3 hours of the day are like, you know, that's when the arguments happen, and the anger comes, and you know, there's things to be unhappy about. It's frustrating.
So if he's at work all day, how is it that he's yelling at you 8 times a day? Do you guys talk on the phone?
No, not really. But I mean, all day isn't like from 8 a.m. to, 9 p.m. He gets home around what time?
Like 6:37.
37? I mean, for you to get home around that time and then you come home, complain about maybe the food's not hot enough, it's not done, complain about maybe what I haven't done with the child, or maybe about, what I look like. So if you only have a couple of hours and he does berate me at least 8 times, that's a lot happening in a small amount of time, and I'm feeling very overwhelmed.
That is overwhelming.
Okay, so I think she's considering any little slight criticism as like me yelling at her.
It's a
So-
higher tone of voice.
It's a higher tone of voice,
Yes.
you say?
This is bullshit.
What type of things happen that lead to the anger taking over?
I get home. Where's dinner? I get home. What'd you do with the kid all day? I get home. We got bills to pay. Why don't you get a part-time job or something? So it's just the same shit over and over.
What has the anger gotten you to do that is against your better judgment?
Acting out in front of my son, he's seen a few episodes. It's nothing I'm proud of, but I gotta do a better job. So
So it's against your better judgment when you act out of anger in front of your son.
yes.
What effect does that anger? Do you think that anger has effect on your relationship with your child?
How do I think it affects my relationship with my
Your
child?
child, yes.
Yeah, no, it's had a bad effect because, like I said, I don't want to expose him to that stuff. So I feel guilty, and I avoid interacting with him. I think because I don't want him to see me yelling.
How does he act around you?
He's okay. He's affectionate. We play. It's decent.
Is that true?
He cries
He cries.
as soon as I let him go, and he gets into his arms. She just starts crying.
He cries. Do you think he's afraid?
Maybe, just more so in the sense that he doesn't really know him.
Okay. How has the anger led you into the difficulties you're now experiencing?
Well, it's probably not good for our marriage. So I think one of the problems that contributes to our marriage is my anger. I wish it wasn't this way, but I wish things weren't happening that are causing me to get so upset. So I don't know what to do. It's just the way I am.
Have there been times when you've been able to get the best of anger?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like I said, I get kind of out of control sometimes. It turns into the Hulk, like I said, and it usually gets the better of me.
It gets the better of you.
Yeah.
Phil does. Well, that's all I have for today. What questions and concerns do you guys have about today's session?
How are you gonna fix him?
That's a great question. And it's I'm not here to fix him. I'm here to help you guys work through and process through the anger.
Okay.
Guess we'll just have to stick around for the process then.
It's a process. It's not a quick fix. Okay. Push the button.